Alrighty, everybody, good morning. How is everyone today? Hello, hello. And welcome to my gameplay streams. It's going to be a good day today. Certainly a good variety of stuff today. We've got Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart continuing, which I'm excited to play. I only had a chance to play it twice so far since it released on Friday. And the first session, I was blown away by the graphics. The second session, finally the gameplay started to pick up, getting some new abilities like the rocket boots that are now making the gameplay more interesting and honestly more viable, because I felt like it was kind of slow moving up to that point. And now it seems like things will definitely speed up and become more interesting. So I'm excited for more of that, of course. And tonight, a chill stream of MLB where it's more about us just kind of relaxing and having fun, conversing, rather than being hyper-focused on the gameplay. So that's going to be a good time, too. I feel like today will be a good variety of stuff on the streams. And I'm excited to hang out with all of you all day today, as usual. Pretty good, pretty good. We will go through the full schedule in just a moment. Alright. Let's see here. I'm just trying to think, is there any important business to cover before we get to the usual routines of topics that we cover here on the pre-stream? Excuse me. Not particularly. No, not particularly. Not that I'm thinking of. I guess we'll just get to the schedule then. By the way, today is Wednesday, the 16th of June, 2021. We are now officially more than halfway through the month of June. Thank you all for a great streaming month so far. I have now officially been streaming on YouTube full-time for 1 month. It actually happened last night. And so, you may notice some people in the stream chat actually are going to have their silver crowns now. Because on YouTube, the way it works is, when you first subscribe, you get a certain chat badge. When you hit your 1 month anniversary, you get another one. At the 2 month anniversary, you get another one. And then I believe it's like at the 6 month, well, when you hit your 6th month, and then when you hit the year and 2 years. That's how it works on YouTube. On Twitch, they actually allow it to go even further. They let it go like 3-4 years and stuff like that. But here it's only up to 2. So the way it works is, you start as bronze, then at 2 months you'll go to silver, at 3 months you'll go to gold, at 6 months you'll get a ruby and an emerald encrusted gold crown. Okay, that'll be cool when people start getting that. At a year, you get the Regal Crown. And then at the 2-year mark, you get the Diamond Regal Crown. So, we did cut out one. I used to have a purplish, we called it Rose Gold Regal Crown. But I cut that out because I figured we were going to cut out one level. Let's just cut out that middle one. So, that's how it's going to work here. Now, the thing is, unlike on Twitch, I don't believe there's a way for you, if you're set to auto-renew, which a lot of people I know have, because it automatically updated for them, and they're like, oh, I have a silver crown now. I think you don't get a pop-up. Like, you don't get a thing that pops up on your screen and says, oh, click here to celebrate your renewal. On Twitch, they have that. So you guys all basically, click on, oh, look, I renewed, and a pop-up will come up. Oh, you resubbed or whatever. But I don't think that exists here on YouTube. Another one of those small things that maybe eventually they'll do that would be nice. But currently, no, they don't have that. So, welcome to all those entering their 2nd month as a channel member. Welcome, and thank you for the ongoing support. I appreciate that. Good things coming this year for sure. If you were not here last night, you missed out. I went through the game schedule update for the rest of 2021. And let me tell you guys something. Even with just the games that have solid release dates, this year is stacking up to be a crazy gaming year. So much coming out in just a couple of months. We start with almost non-stop new releases. Every week there's 1 or 2 new games. Don't even get me started on September, which seems to be one of the busiest gaming months in years. So this is going to be a crazy gaming year for sure coming up. If you did not see that video, you should watch it on demand right here on DSPGaming. It is live. It was the video from last night. Strongly recommend that you do give it a look, because if you don't, how are you going to know what I'm playing, right? And I'm sure you all have questions on what games I want to play for the rest of the year. Now, here's the thing. That's not 100% everything I'm doing. In fact, I can outright tell you that there's more games coming out this year that I will likely be playing, that were not included in that listing. Hold on one second. Where the hell is this? There it is. Okay. I wanted to add the Pokemon video from last night to the playlist. I forgot. It was the conclusion of the playthrough. Basically, what I did is I went through the gaming listing for everything coming out the rest of the year, and anything that had a solid release date that I was interested in, I put on that list. But there's other games, for example, we know there's a yearly outing of Call of Duty. That's coming up, and you know I'm going to play it, so whenever that comes out, I'm playing it, but I can't put it in the schedule because there's no date yet, you see? And there are quite a lot of games coming up that are aiming for holiday 2021, but it's unclear whether or not they will actually hit it or not. So, you know, we'll see. There may be a lot of games actually coming out in November, December that aren't on the schedule yet. Okay? What's up, Darkness? Good to see you today. Welcome to the stream. So, yeah, please check out that video. The game schedule update for June to December 2021 went live on DSPGaming last night. Please give it a look if you didn't. It's a very informative video, I feel. And also, what I do is I need feedback from you guys. You know, out of what I talked about, what should I definitely play? What should I maybe skip? Did I miss anything that has a release date that you'd be interested in seeing me play, etc.? Feedback is appreciated. Okay, hello, Alfred Aponte. How are you today? Okay. Spraxa asked, will I be playing the medium on PS5? Good question. I don't know. I actually talked about it last night. Again, if you watch that video, I'll give you detailed thoughts about it, because I did talk about it for a bit. Okay? Alrighty. So, that was last night. Okay? Thank you to those who are supporting the channel moving forward. The next few months should be great with the stuff that I have planned. It should be a good time, especially when all the new releases start hitting. The rest of this year should be great for gaming. And this week, even though E3 was kind of a bust, at least we got enough game dates that now we can be like, oh, wow, this is going to be pretty crazy coming up for the rest of the year. I'm excited for all the games we're going to be covering right here on YouTube. All right? Good stuff, good stuff. Now, let's talk about the game schedule for the rest of the week. So, as I already said, this main gameplay stream is Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. 3+ hours of gameplay continuing on from where we left off. Very excited to see how it goes with these rocket boots and all the other worlds and things we'll be exploring today. Okay? Tonight, it's MLB The Show chill stream at 6:45 p.m. Pacific time, where it's more about us kind of relaxing and talking and having fun than the game, but of course the game is a factor. I hope you'll join me for that. You guys really seemed to like that last week. You guys overwhelmingly liked it and supported it, so that's why we're doing it again this week. Okay? The Dirty Troll just did a super chat and says, have you ever played Stubbs the Zombie? No, I have not. I've heard of it, but I've never played it. Tomorrow, Thursday, we're swinging back to Mass Effect 3 Legendary Edition, finally. Haven't played this in like a week, and I'm only going to get to play it one more time this week. 3+ hours of that tomorrow. Tomorrow night is my weekly Call of Duty session, which I'm actually really excited for because I unlocked the new pistol last time around. It took a while, but I unlocked it, and then I didn't get to use it. So we're actually going to use it tomorrow night. Then on Friday, it's more Fallout New Vegas, and I determined after we finish Vault 22, I'm likely going to do a DLC. After speaking with Semi-Inept in the stream chat this morning, it looks like we may be doing Honest Hearts, maybe the first one, the easiest one to do. So we'll probably jump into a DLC on Friday. Friday night, my weekly Throwback Street Fighter session, 2 hours of old school fighting game fun, which you guys really seem to enjoy. That's going to be a good time. Then on Saturday, it'll be more Ratchet & Clank continuing. And Saturday night, it will be Danganronpa V3, the weekly session. Okay? I'm off from streaming on Sunday. When I return on Monday, we're just going to keep continuing on with all the fun stuff that I've been doing, alternating between Fallout, Mass Effect, and Ratchet & Clank. Ratchet & Clank likely will be completed early on in the week because it's not a super long game. Probably one more stream maybe next week and it'll be done. Which is good because the next game coming out is, what's it called? Mario Golf, Super Brawl or something crazy like that. That one's coming out next week, and I'm going to be playing that one. So basically, that'll take up the spot of Ratchet & Clank. All right, now, ladies and gentlemen, I'll say this now and get it out of the way so that way we don't have to talk about it again, okay? For the rest of this week, I really need your help with tips, okay? I know I've been saying this for the past 2 weeks. I've been saying this all along that I need your help with tips because I'm waiting to get paid by YouTube. Now, here's the deal. On the 20th of June, I have to pay a large back tax payment to the federal government. Okay? How large? I'm not going to tell you. You don't want to know. But this I have to pay every month because I owe back taxes for years when I did not pay my taxes properly because I didn't have the money. You know, before I basically did things to take drastic measures to try to fix my finances. Okay? If I don't pay this payment, I'm in trouble. All right? Basically, what happens is I would default. Everything would be screwed up. It could potentially screw things up for me in a big way. Okay? I need to make the payment. But I also need to raise enough funds this week to do stuff on Sunday. Essential stuff like grocery shopping and supplies for the house and Jasper and everything. Okay? I rely on tips to do this. So, if you like my streams, if you like the content, and you want to see me continue, please support the streams via tipping. Okay? That's what I need this week. Now, as of next week, okay, I should get paid my first major payment from YouTube from being a streamer on YouTube. You guys really supported last month, those 2 weeks that I was streaming here, and therefore I'll be getting paid for those. I'll be getting paid for the super chats. I'll be getting paid for the memberships and the ad revenue for May. I'll be getting paid for that next week. So once that comes through, I should be good. I should be back on track. Now, I already talked about this, but obviously it's not going to be as much as I was making on Twitch because I don't have all those subs. On Twitch, I had 900 freaking subs. Here I have 180 some memberships. That's a humongous difference, okay? And people are still getting into the swing of things. People are starting to do super chats and the like, which is great. I'm sure this is going to pick up, all right? But, yeah, right now, I need to get to that point. I have 1 week left, and the only income I have is your tips. So, this next 4 days that I'm here on stream, if you like this stuff, please support it via tipping, all right? If that even means foregoing a channel membership for now or foregoing using super chats, please do. I really need the help with tips. Yesterday, we did not hit a tips goal. Last night, I barely raised anything on the late stream, which surprised me because I thought people would be interested for the game's release schedule. But it just didn't work out. I don't know what to say. So I really need help the next 4 days. Okay? How can you tip? Well, if you look at the description of the stream, there's a link to do it. Or you can type _tip into the stream chat. That will prompt the bot to bring up the link that you can click on and you can tip with. Okay? So please, if you can. Now, as of next week, all right, once I get paid by YouTube, once that happens, which I don't know what day exactly it'll be, but once it happens, things will change. The tips goals are going to go back down to $100 like they always were, okay? And then it'll be more of, hey, whatever you want to do to support, whether you want to be a channel member of any level, because there's 3 different levels you can do, whether you want to do a super chat, whether you want to tip me, all those things are great, all right? At that point, it will not matter. But I need to get to that point. I definitely need to make this back tax payment, and I need to have, funds for Sunday, essentially. So, if you can tip, please do. I am not asking for anyone who cannot, who it's beyond their means to do so. What I'm saying is if you were already thinking of contributing to support the streams, please tip me in the next 4 days. And also, if you were thinking of doing any other kind of contribution, please hold off and tip. I need the help in the short term, all right? This has been a really annoying 2 months, thanks to Twitch. So I'm glad. Sadly, they acted the way they did, incredibly unprofessionally, and I am happy to leave them behind and be able to move forward positively here on YouTube. We're almost to the light at the end of the tunnel, essentially. We're almost there. 1 more week, pretty much, okay? So there you go. Light says, are you worried you won't get enough money from YouTube? You'll have to keep the tips goal at $200. I mean, I have the tips goal $200 now and I don't hit it. So what does that matter? Seriously. Like every day, every stream the tips goal is 200. When was the last time I hit it? Right? I hit it, I think, twice in the entire week last week. Like, I don't really think that the number up there really matters that much. If people will support if they can. And I don't really think that it's much of a change of a factor. I think what will happen is if the tips goal ends up being $100, maybe people would be more apropos to either become a channel member or do a super chat because they feel it's not as urgent of a thing, you see. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. That's correct, Hobo X. He says a lot of Twitch subs are probably Prime subs, so there will always be less YouTube members. You're right. Well, as I said, what's going to do, it's going to take a while to build up people back to even close to being the level that we were at here on YouTube. It definitely will take a long time. Keep in mind, how many years was I streaming full-time on Twitch before we hit 900 subs a month, right? I mean, it was almost 5 years. So, you know, it's good that I've got my viewers coming over here, but it's going to take a while. And what's going to happen is there's going to definitely be a different group of people who are going to start watching as well, because we got people here who've always been on YouTube, and now they're going to start watching the streams, who maybe never did on Twitch. At the same time, you're going to have people who always watch streams on Twitch and aren't going to want to come to YouTube, you see? So, there's going to be it's going to take a while. I'm not crazy. That's why I said, hey, this month's member goal is 250 members, not 400 or 500. I mean, I'd be an idiot, you know? Speaking of which, today is the 16th of June. We are now officially halfway through the month, and we're at 182 members out of the 250 members goal. All right. If you have been holding off on becoming a member, you know, by the end of the month, you probably would want to, because we're trying to hit 250. If we hit 250, I'm going to be doing a celebratory event of your choice. I'm going to allow you guys to have control over what it is. And my ideas are as follows. Either an indies marathon, where you guys will be nominating indie games for me to try out. And the thing is about those marathons, a lot of the times if there's a good indie game, I end up playing it at length later on and doing a full playthrough of it. Or it could be a Rageathon, where you guys purposely try to pick games that you feel would piss me off into like a 90-minute segment. All right? Or it could be the return of the retrospective event, where you guys nominate your favorite moments in my now almost 13 years as a content creator on the internet. And then we go back down memory lane and we watch those together, and I do some commentary over them and react to those moments. Okay? So, I would love to do any of those events, but we have to hit the members goal for the month, which is 250 members. Now, I already asked in this week if you guys could forego other contribution methods to tip me. I would prefer that, all right? But starting next week, I'm going to make a major push to try to hit this members goal by the end of the month. I hope that we can do it. I think it is doable. It would just take some doing of constantly mentioning it and really, you know, celebrating when people do become members to try to hype it up, okay? Okay. So, what is this guy talking about? Alright, so this guy's a fucking being an asshole troll. I love these conspiracy theorists. This guy believes that I get tons of tips behind the scenes. Oh, yeah, totally. Didn't you know there's several millionaires that send me about $40,000 a month each behind the scenes? So, you know, of course. The fuck is this idiot talking about? Get the conspiracy theorists out of here. Go back to QAnon. Anyway, let's continue. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your support. Please tip me today if you can. And now let's move forward positively, shall we? So, gaming news-wise, there's not much to talk about today. A lot of people are still kind of having the fallout from E3, Summer Games Fest. A lot of talk out there about the new Metroid game coming out, about the new character in Smash, and all the stuff that happened in the Nintendo Direct yesterday. And the one interesting thing that I want to talk about today, interestingly enough, does involve the fighting game community, and I have a perspective on this because I have been part of the fighting game community for a very long time. Okay? So, yesterday it was announced that Kazuya Mishima, one of the prominent characters in the Tekken fighting game franchise, would be added to the lineup of Smash Bros. Ultimate. Okay? And the memes began, and whenever there's a new character, there's a bajillion memes that begin on the internet for that character. Now, as you guys know, I do not care about Smash. I haven't played it since maybe a month or 2 months after I launched it. The last time I played it was when they launched the Piranha Plant first character, right? He was free, and I played him, and that was it. That was the end of it for me. Okay? So, everyone's a buzz about it. But apparently, okay, apparently, there's this big controversy in the Smash community, and pretty much only in the Smash community, although now there's some carryover into other fighting games. And here's why. Apparently those who are Smash community mainstays, we're talking top notable players, but we're also talking, just people who played Smash for many, many years, have apparently started to practice where they call every single character who essentially is a guest character from an existing fighting game franchise in Smash Brothers a Shoto. They just call them all SHOTOS. SHOTO. Okay? That's their terminology to say, oh, so Ryu and Ken, but now you've got Terry Bogard from King of Fighters / Fatal Fury. You've also got Kazuya Mishima, so he would be considered Tekken. So those are all SHOTOs according to them. All right? But apparently this has caused a giant uproar among the fighting game community. People don't like it. They're going nuts. Why are they going nuts? Well, obviously because we all know that Shoto is a very derogatory term. Cultural appropriation. No, I'm just kidding. That's not why. That would be funny, though. That would genuinely be funny if they said calling things a Shoto is cultural appropriation. Oh my god, I didn't even think about that till this very moment. I made the joke, like, wait a minute. In this current climate of the world, people would probably do that, too. They'd probably say it. But anyway, that's not what's going on, okay? So here's the deal. The term Shoto is actually an abbreviation or abridgment for the full word Shotokan, all right? If you don't know what that is, it's a type of karate. Shotokan karate, all right? Where did the term come from, and why are people up in arms that people are using this term in Smash terminology? Well, to answer that question, you actually have to know about the roots of Street Fighter, because that's where it came from, all right? Way back when, in the game Street Fighter 2, when the cast expanded from just being Ryu and Ken, who were palette swaps back in Street Fighter 1, to actually having a cast of 8 characters that you could select. All of a sudden, all these different fighting styles were added to the game. You had Ryu and Ken, who basically were supposed to be karate users, which is why they wear gis, they have black belts, and the like, okay? But then there's Chun-Li, who has this unique kind of other kind of Chinese fighting style. Guile, who's supposed to basically kind of be like a boxer, but also he has kicks, so maybe like, almost like a kickboxer. And then, Zangief, he's supposed to be a grappler and actually a former pro wrestler, right? A sumo fighter, E Honda. So basically the game added all these different fighting styles into it when Street Fighter 2 came out. Now, what happened was people started to categorize fighters over the years as being very similar. So you have charge characters. Those are characters where you have to hold the stick in a certain direction a certain number of seconds before you then move it another direction plus a button, and that would activate a move. For example, Sonic Boom. Hold back for 2 to 3 seconds, plus forward, plus punch. You throw a Sonic Boom, we got it, right? But there was a category of character, okay, that basically was created for Ryu and Ken called Shotos. Essentially what that means is they're Shotokan karate fighters. That's the style of combat that they're using. And what that came to mean was that this is a character who can throw a fireball. This is a character who can usually do some kind of an anti-air move, usually an uppercut like a Shoryuken, which is the name of the move that they have. But then other characters over the years have also had that style of gameplay. Sagat is actually considered a Shoto because he has fireballs and then the uppercut to knock you out of the air when you jump over the fireball. All right. So there's variations as well. There's been hybrid characters. There's been all these things. But essentially, Shoto means Ryu or Ken, you could throw a fireball, you could do a Shoryuken anti-air. That's essentially the style of combat. And it also means that's a character who has rounded motions when they do their special moves. It's not a charge character. It's you actually do like a rounded quarter circle. Oh, that'll throw a fireball or whatever. That's what it means at its core. Okay? So over the years, Shotos referenced characters like Ryu and Ken, and then later on Akuma became one of the primary Shotos because he's exactly the same fighting style. And like I said, there's been other hybrids over the years. Some people would argue, oh, Sean from Street Fighter 3. In reality, he's really not. He does not play like a Shoto. He doesn't have a fireball. But you can see what I'm saying here. That's kind of the mentality of what it means to be a Shoto in a fighting game. Now, the funny thing is, this carried over to many other franchises. If you look at King of Fighters, there's a lot of characters like Kyo Kusanagi or Iori Yagami who actually fit that archetype as well. There's a little bit of variation in them, but they basically fit the archetype, and you could argue that they're Shotos or at least hybrid Shoto characters. This has always been a major part of fighting games, okay? This terminology. So, what's funny to me is that today we got a Smash Brothers community who don't know anything about fighting game history at all. They've never played these former games. They don't understand it. They don't get it. And that's okay. They don't have to, because let's face it, Smash Brothers plays absolutely nothing like most other traditional fighting games. In fact, there was a time in the early 2000s to the late 2000s when Smash Brothers was heavily debated whether or not it was even a fighting game. Some people said, yes, it is a fighting game and it could be very competitive, and others were like, no, essentially Smash Brothers is just a party game. It was meant to be a party game, but if you have a very strict set of criteria and rules in place, so example, no items, only certain stages, only certain time limits, etc., then you could make it competitive as if it were to be played like a one-on-one fighting game, but it really at its core is not. It's supposed to be a party game. And I actually remember back in the day, people wanted Smash Brothers at EVO, and my God, there was so much pushback. No, Smash is not a fighting game. It doesn't deserve to be there. And then other events as well, where people fought to have Smash Brothers in as a fighting game. People were like, no, it's not a fighting game, okay? Now, of course, things have very much changed in the last decade. People now very, very openly welcome Smash Brothers as a competitive fighting game. I don't think you're going to find anyone who really argues otherwise. But it's interesting because that community of players really has been completely isolated and separated from what would be considered the mainstay fighting game community pretty much forever. Because when you think of Smash Brothers compared to Street Fighter or Tekken or Virtua Fighter or Mortal Kombat / Injustice or any of these other franchises, just think how different Smash Brothers plays from those games. It's a whole different kind of ball game. It really is. And that's fine. Variety is the spice of life, as they say. You don't want every fighting game to be similar or identical. But what's interesting to me is now you have these discrepancies where, from a competitive fighter gamer standpoint, someone who's played fighting games for 20, 30 years, you know exactly what a Shoto is. It's a character who has a fireball and some kind of an anti-air move similar to like a Shoryuken. They have rounded motion inputs, and they play a certain kind of fighting style. Ryu, Ken, Akuma are the three quintessential Shotos, and there's been many hybrids over the years. But to the Smash community, Shoto means any fighting game character in the game that's a guest character. That's just, they reference all. They say Terry Bogard's a Shoto. And now that Kazuya Mishima's in the game, they're saying, yeah, he's a Shoto. Like, wait, what? So now there's this giant debate over what they're going to call these characters moving forward. And it's funny because I've seen people from both sides of the fence say completely different things. So those who seem to be isolated inside of the Smash community seem to be of the mentality that just calling all these characters Shotos is the best thing to do because it's quick. It's an easy way to say the thing. It's not like, for example, one of them said, oh, well, Shoto versus fighting game character. It's a quick abbreviation as opposed to having to say this giant term. It quickly, everyone knows what you mean when you say Shoto in Smash, so we should just use that terminology whether or not it's factually correct or not. And then other people are like, what? Like, that doesn't make any sense, so let me get this straight. Just because something's easier to say, you could say it even if it's factually wrong. So why don't we just start calling watermelons pears, right? Because they're both fruits, and a watermelon, is way too long of a name. We should just call every fruit that has a long name, just call it a pear. It's quick, right? It's completely factually wrong, not representative of what it really is, but we'll just do it anyway because it's easy. So now people are basically saying that Smash Brothers people are lazy, right? Wow, the Smash community is a bunch of lazy bums. They can't even say the fucking right word, and they can't be bothered to actually learn what it means. Like, wow. It's crazy on social media these days. And it's funny because being quite honest here, I can see pros and cons of both sides. Certainly, the Smash community is influential in a lot of ways, and the last thing you would want is because the Smash community starts using a certain term, Now you get a widespread mainstream group of gamers who think that that's what the term means when it actually doesn't. Like, you wouldn't want people who don't necessarily play other competitive fighting games to start calling every character from a fighting game a Shoto. That would, you know what I mean? Then the term would completely lose its meaning. But at the same time, is it really that big of a deal? Like, it's hard to figure out. And then you realize at the end of the day, does this even really matter? Seriously, like, why? I'm not even kidding you, there's probably 1,000 posts on Twitter about this, and does it really matter? No. At the end of the day, it won't really affect anything, what you call something in the game. This isn't going to affect gameplay. This isn't, you know what I mean? It's just something that's semantics. It really is. It's semantics. Let's argue about word use. Like it's some really big deal. You know? But the truth of the matter is, if you want to use it correctly, no, you cannot call them all Shotos. They're not. For example, Terry Bogard would be considered a hybrid. He has a fireball, much like Ryu and Ken, but he doesn't have a true anti-air Shoryuken style move. He does have a power dunk, which is a move that's similar to Shoryuken, but not really. He doesn't have the same properties. Kazuya Mishima is nothing like a Shoto. He has no fireball. He has no true like reversal Shoryuken uppercut anti-air. He has none of that crap at all. So to call him a Shoto is like a huge miscategorization of his gameplay style. And quite frankly, you know, would you want people to think that every character from Tekken is a Shoto? Of course not. It doesn't make any sense. So, you know, at what point do we allow things to just be wrong for the sake of ease of use, rather than saying, no, this is wrong, stop being lazy, actually, you know, learn for a second. I think this is a learning opportunity for the mainstream communities here of gaming to realize that, you know, maybe sometimes you do have to go the extra step and just learn a little bit and be a little bit respectful to things that have been established. Because, I'll give you an example here. Long time ago, when I was a kid, every single video game was called a Nintendo game. It didn't matter if you were playing it in the arcades. It didn't matter if you were playing it at home. It didn't matter if you were actually playing it on a Nintendo console, or if you played it on a Genesis, if you played it on a place. There were people for like 15 years, everyone said, oh, I'm playing those Nintendo games. They didn't call them video games. They just called them Nintendo games. It was a huge misclassification based on the fact that Nintendo was the leading home console manufacturer at the time. There were these kind of ignorant people who just called everything a Nintendo game. And it was very confusing because then well, I want this game for my Genesis. Well, I'm going to go get that Nintendo game. No. It's not a Nintendo game. I want Sonic the Hedgehog for the Sega Genesis. Okay, well, I'm just going to go there and ask for Sonic for the Nintendo game. You see what I mean? It actually caused mass confusion at the time because people weren't specific enough. It became a mainstream thing to just call them Nintendo games. Everyone was confused for like 10 years until finally, around the time when Sony entered the console market, then there was enough discernment between the cartridge-based systems and the CD-based systems that people started realizing, oh, it's not all a Nintendo game anymore. You see? But that's what I mean when I see semantics like this, and I look at this situation, I'm like, what if you get a giant group of gamers who don't know about competitive fighting games, they only watch and play Smash, only exclusively, and then they start calling every character from a mainstream fighting game a Shoto, it could pollute the word. You know what I mean? It could make it that everyone uses it wrong, and next thing you know, there's monstrous confusion everywhere. You see? So, oh, there you go. See, this is actually a good point. Aztac Lal, boy, I cannot pronounce your name. Aztac Lals says the same thing with people calling loaders, excavators, and whatever machinery just a tractor. Yeah. Or a bulldozer. I've seen people call bulldozer things that aren't even close to being a bulldozer. Because people just say, oh, every big giant machine that's used for construction work is the same term. And then you get them all confused. You see? So anyway, it's pretty interesting to me how this is happening. I don't know what the outcome is going to be. I think ultimately, here's what's going to happen. It's going to be in the hands of those who are the leaders of the Smash community, meaning either people who are running the major competitions or people who are actually the top players of the game, because they're the ones who have the social media following. They're the ones who people go to for kind of leadership in that competitive community. So it's going to be up to them to kind of determine what you call something in the game. If they start calling Kazuya Mishima a Shoto, everyone else is going to do it too. You know? So it really lies on them. And the question is, will they go the extra mile to educate themselves so that it doesn't keep being misclassified? You know? I don't know. But anyway, I thought I'd give you a little bit of history today, considering that I come from the competitive fighting game community and I know all about that, right? Oh, really? Second Surprise says, the Smash players have been doing this kind of thing for years. They call a dash exploit wave dashing. Oh, that's interesting. Do you know what wave dashing actually is? Wave dashing is back in the Versus series of games from Capcom. When you press down and 3 punches together, the character will dash forward. Now, the thing is, normally you can dash forward by just double tapping the joystick forward and holding it, and it does exactly the same input. But by doing down plus 3 punches, it's actually an abbreviated input that does it faster. And so for certain characters, for example, the typical wave dashing character is Magneto, where he could dash forward, back, forward, back, forward, back, just by tapping down and 3 punches back to get back and forth, back and forth. He go all over the screen super fast. You see? So what you're saying is there's an exploit in Smash Brothers to dash fast, and they call it wave dashing, even though it's not that. I see what you're saying. So it seems to me they adapt things. They take terminology and adapt it from other fighting games and they make it their own, but then it just confuses what the ultimate meaning was. I understand. Darkness says they should not use the word. They say it saves time, but hell, why do they need to save time? They're not in a rush. The likely event of someone talking about it are low anyway. Well, here's the thing. I think within the community, the competitive community, they probably use the term all the time, right? Anytime anyone used Ryu, Ken, and now. See, here's the thing, too. When they first started using the term, it was correct. Because the only mainstay fighting game characters that were in Smash were Ryu and Ken, and they're both actually Shotos. You see? But now that they've added Terry Bogard, and now that they've added Kazuya Mishima from 2 other fighting game franchises, now they're not Shotos anymore. So that's where the confusion really comes in. Team Igo Gamer says they actually use the term wave dash in Rocket League as well for a certain way to pivot your car back and forth to get like a certain kind of rapid pace to gain speed. That's interesting. Well, in that case, I don't know if it really references the fighting game community or not. Maybe that's just a coincidence that they seem to call it the same thing. I'm not sure. Oh, there you go. So Snick36 says, Shoto means a young male prostitute. It's an offensive slur only boomers would say. Oh, no. See, I seriously thought, like, oh, that's cultural appropriation. Because Shoto is Shotokan Karate, and that should be something for the Asian population. How dare everyone else use it, right? But, no, but you guys want to know the actual truth? Now, here's something most people will not mention, okay? When you actually reference Ryu and Ken as Shotos, technically that's wrong, too. Because even though they were called Shotos or Shotokan Karate users, actually their fighting style does not represent Shotokan Karate. If you actually look at a character like Makoto from Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, she is actually more similar to what actually Shotokan Karate would be. She's a grounded style approach, which mostly ground-based moves, almost never hitting the air. And she can do grapples and strikes and things. That's more like what real karate is. So if you called her a Shoto, that's actually correct factually when you're talking about the real martial art. So in reality, when everyone's been calling Ryu, Ken, Akuma Shotos all this time, in reality, they really don't use Shotokan Karate. And that was a misnomer to begin with. So there you go. Now that your minds are all blown, we'll all realize this was all a waste of time. No one cares anyway. But anyway, it's definitely interesting from a historical perspective to take a look at this kind of stuff. Yes, Dacky Smurf, that would make the Street Fighter people incorrect. You're right. When they made the original Street Fighter games, they weren't trying to make them for realism, you know? Do you really think that sumo wrestlers do a 100-hand slap and a flying headbutt? Really? You know, the major move that sumo wrestlers use to beat their opponents is propelling their entire bulbous bodies forward off the mat, flying head first into their opponents. I mean, very effective use of fighting game style, right? Of course. No. So, it's kind of similar. So, that's the truth, is that you know, Ryu, Ken, Akuma never were Shotokan Karate anyway. Just because they wear karate gis does not mean that they're Shotokan Karate users. Anyway. There you go. All right. Well, we went off on enough of a tangent there. I think it's time to do some shout-outs. We start off with Ladiesman2166, who tipped me $1.30 to get the tipping started today, and he actually says, Microsoft has announced that Flight Simulator sadly will not work on an Xbox One. You have to have a Series X in order for it to even start, and I read that at GameStop.com. That is correct. However, there's a follow-up to that. It was actually announced. Now, there's no actual release date for when this is going to happen. It was announced that Microsoft knows that there's people out there who want to get a Series S and X and they can't get it. And what they're going to try to do, I don't know how on earth they're going to pull this one off. They're claiming they are going to try to make it so that you can use the xCloud to broadcast Xbox Series X games to the Xbox One. So even though, technically, Flight Simulator would not run on an Xbox One, if you have Game Pass, they're going to try to make it eventually. Now, I doubt this is going to happen for the release of Flight Simulator, but long term, you would be able to cloud stream an Xbox Series X game on your Xbox One. I don't know how that would work. I think, again, I think that this is kind of like, this is some kind of a pipe dream where they're imagining that everyone has insanely good fiber optic internet and that they're going to be able to live stream a game, broadcast it over the internet and play. You know what I mean? Like, this is a whole on live all over again. And I don't believe it's going to work. This is Google Stadia all over again. But they are of the impression that this will work. I don't know how it could, but this is what they said this morning to the criticism that they're saying, oh, you have all these games under Game Pass, but what about people who want a Series X and can't get one because of the shortage? What do you say to that? And they were like, we will try to make it that every game will be on xCloud. Like, wow, that's amazing, but I don't know how feasible that's going to be, right? Yeah, I don't know, man. Anyway, that was their answer. But yes, you're correct, ladies man. Flight Simulator apparently is PC and Xbox Series S and X only. It will not run on a base Xbox One as of now. So, correct. Thank you for the tip. Shout out to Eternal Napalm, who tipped me $2 and says, I got to see more gameplay of Metroid Dread. It looks insanely good. The 2D graphics are gorgeous. The tone is spot on the money. Boss design looks sweet as well. Yeah, I mean, I like classic Metroid. So, this seems to be like it's going to be right up my alley. That's the kind of game I like, the classic style Metroid. And having a nemesis-like enemy chasing you throughout the game, and only certain times you can defeat them, seems pretty interesting too. So, yeah, I'm excited for this. I want to play it. I legit want to play it. I just don't know if my audience is going to like it, because every single time over the years that I've attempted to play a Metroid-style game, it has failed. Every one I tried failed. What happens is, people like it for the first stream to 2 streams, and then they complain that it's too repetitive and boring, especially with all the backtracking that's usually needed in those games. But maybe we can actually make it work. Maybe with our interactions and hanging out and having a good time with conversation, maybe we could make it work. I don't know. I guess we'll see. Captain DCW has tipped me $10. That is so far is the biggest contribution of the day. So let's actually get that to the top tip section here. Thank you very much, Captain DCW. I appreciate that, sir. Good to see you, by the way. Never Ending Crisis tipped me $1.30. Says, did you get the vaccine yet, and why not? First of all, it's not a matter of why or why not, because I haven't told you if I got it yet. And I've already explained this rationality many times. I'll say it one more time, since obviously you are deaf or you have selective hearing. For about 2 to 3 months, right? The build up to the vaccines being available, and then when they became portionally available, where you had to basically kind of line up and have an appointment 3 weeks ahead of time, etc. I was talking about it on my streams. People got very upset with me for talking about the vaccine on my streams. Very upset with me. I'm not even kidding. There were people behind the scenes who were emailing me these nasty, how dare you, this is political and you're a gamer. Why are you derailing your streams? I don't want to hear about the vaccine on your streams. I come to your streams to relax. I don't want to hear about this political crap that I hear every day. Yes, people were actually saying that talking about the vaccine was political. I don't understand how science can be political. People actually have gotten so in a mindset where this is now a political issue that they just believe it. They actually don't believe that this is like a health issue or a scientific medical issue. They think it's political. I figure that one out. I just don't get it. Okay? But anyway, since I got a few people who contacted me complaining about it, I made it a policy. It was a little over a month ago. I said, I'm not going to talk about this on my streams anymore. Because if people are getting upset and they're saying that it's not gaming related or whatever, I don't want to derail my streams talking about it. I'm not going to tell you about where I'm going, how I'm doing it. I'm not going to tell you this and that. And I didn't. Okay? I've kept it a topic off of my streams. If someone comes to my stream and says, Phil, I got vaccinated today, I said, congratulations. That's great news. You know, now you're safe for now. And this is excellent news. Okay? But I'm not going to talk about my own private stuff because people are making an issue of it. Okay? So just because I didn't publicly talk about it doesn't mean I'm not vaccinated. It just means I'm not going to talk about it because I don't want to make an issue of it and have people get all upset and get angry and start arguing about politics in the fucking stream chat. All right? This is about the 10th time I've answered this question now in about 3 weeks. I don't know why people don't fucking listen. I think next time someone asks, I'm just going to say, go fuck yourself. I'm not answering your dumb question again and move on. But I figured this is the last time I'm not officially answering it again. No, I'm not talking about it on my streams. All right? There. Holy shit. Okay. Dystra has tipped me $4.20. Says, what's your most anticipated game that's definitely releasing this year? Okay, hold on a second. Because to answer that, I'm going to actually bring up the games release listing. Hold on, let's see. 13, 14, 18. We're at 18 total. I'm going to bring up the games release listing that I made yesterday. And I'm going to go through it and see what one I'm actually the most interested in. Let's see. So, here's what we've got with a definitive release date that I'm interested in. I'm not saying I'm definitely playing all these. All right. But I'm saying these are the ones I'm interested in. Okay. So we got Mario Golf Super Rush next week. Skyward Sword Remake in July. There's Observer System Redux, but apparently now people are telling me that's PC and Xbox Series X only. So I guess I could delete that one because I can't even play it, which sucks because it looked interesting, but apparently I cannot play it. Crap, now I deleted the Skyward Sword release date. Fuck. I don't know what day it is now. Hades is in August for consoles. 12 Minutes in August. I'm excited for that for sure. Kena Bridge of Spirits in August. Psychonauts 2 in August. Medium is in September. Sonic Colors Ultimate. Tales of Arise. Life is Strange True Colors. Deathloop. Excuse me. Rainbow Six Extraction. Diablo 2 Resurrected. Lost Judgment. Far Cry 6. Metroid Dread. Back 4 Blood. Battlefield 2042. The Dark Pictures House of Ashes. Guardians of the Galaxy, Age of Empires 4, Forza Horizon 5, Shin Megami Tensei 5, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, Advance Wars 1 and 2, and Dying Light 2. Alright. So I would say, looking at this list, the ones I'm most excited for, I could probably narrow this down. 12 Minutes, I'm just intrigued by. It's a game that's been in development for so long, and it's just a unique concept. I can't wait to try it out and play it and see how it turns out. Last Judgment. I mean, the sequel to a game 2 years ago that was one of my favorite games of the year. Remember we had the Summer of Judgment, where I played Judgment over the course of that summer at a relatively slow pace, but I did so much content and everything in the game. It ended up being one of my favorite playthroughs in, like, years. So definitely the sequel to Judgment is going to be outstanding, I feel. Metroid Dread, I'm telling you. Like, I'm actually hyped for this game. An actual mainstay sequel in the Metroid franchise that plays like the old games is going to be really sweet, I feel. Back 4 Blood, I'm hyped for this game, even though people played the, I guess, the beta or the alpha and said it didn't seem very good. I'm hyped for this because I absolutely love Left 4 Dead 1 and 2. I think I actually like Left 4 Dead 1 and 2 more than a lot of other people. A lot of people complain they thought Left 4 Dead 2 was too much like the first game. Because it really was. It was the first game, only with more different characters and a little bit better gameplay mechanics and different locations. But, man, I loved those games, and then they vanished and never came back. So I'm actually very hyped for that game, and I hope it's as good as the original Left 4 Dead. So I would say, yeah, that one. Battlefield 2042 right now looks good on paper, and what we've seen of it looks good. Doesn't necessarily mean it's good to translate into a good game, but it looks good, so I'm hyped for that. Of course, I'm hyped for the Dark Pictures House of Ashes. I loved Little Hope last year, and I hope House of Ashes is just as good. And I would argue Forza Horizon 5. That game has been an ongoing chill playthrough. The last 2 games have been outstanding games and playthroughs that I've played, and I can't wait to play the new one. So I would say, yeah, 12 minutes, Lost Judgment, Back 4 Blood, Battlefield, and House of Ashes and Forza Horizon 5 are the ones that I'm the most hyped for. If I had to pick one game out of all of those, I can't do it. I can't do it. I refuse. I refuse to conform to your norms. How about that? I absolutely refuse. I like them all, and I'm interested in them all, and I'm not going to conform to your norms. Okay? Alright, also, I would like to answer right here on the stream, again, no, I'm not playing Final Fantasy VII Intergrade Yuffie DLC. Alright? Final Fantasy VII Remake, I thought was a good game graphically. I thought that the story was good until the end when they changed the story, which completely pissed me off, actually. I thought the combat was meh. I really did think the combat was very mediocre, and I didn't like that they had changed it from an interesting turn-based game back in the 90s into this mashable game that played like Final Fantasy 15. So I didn't like the game nearly as much as many other people. I still thought it was a good game, and I enjoyed playing it, but I just didn't love it. This DLC that's coming out literally is a filler. It's a way for them to make more money off of fluff. Because Yuffie does not actually, in the original game, have any impact on stuff that goes on in, the starter city. What is it, Midgard? She factors in much later in the game. She becomes an interesting character that factors into the story. So this entire thing was added in just to sell DLC and make money for Square Enix. It has nothing really to do with anything important. And from what I've seen, the combat is even more ridiculously stupid from the original game. Yuffie is like broken to shit. She's flying into the sky and doing crazy, silly shit. It's just like, what is this? This isn't like... It's not interesting to me. I'm just sorry, it's just not. And even if I skip this, it's just not going to factor into when the next one comes out. Trust me on this. It's not going to matter. This is a way for them to milk you for extra cash because they want more money out of the same game. So no, I'm not playing it. Okay? Kagame says, well, I played the original Final Fantasy VII. Well, if you would like to hear some explanation of what things I'm planning on doing in the month of July, because July actually is very, very slow for game releases this year. Unlike last year, where we actually had the flip side. A lot of games came out in July, including Ghost of Tsushima. This year, it's went back to being completely, almost 100% dead in July for game releases. Okay? So, essentially, the deal is, I have time in July to do whatever I want. And some of the things I'm throwing around are, yes, maybe play the original Final Fantasy VII, or maybe play some classic games I've wanted to go back to over the years and play, or replay. For example, I've wanted to replay Chrono Trigger for the longest time, and maybe see some alternate endings. But also, I was tossing around, maybe finally have a chance to play some of the games I've always wanted to play and never did, like Lost Odyssey. So I'm just tossing ideas out there. I'm not saying this is definitely what I'm doing in July. I'm just saying these are ideas that I've had because there's definitely going to be time to fill. Okay? Sanitary Accident is asking about the tiers of memberships again. All right. When you become a channel member, it's a bronze crown. When you hit your second month, it becomes a silver crown. Your third month, it becomes a golden crown. On the 6th month, the golden crown gets rubies and emeralds added to it. At 1 year, you get a regal-looking crown, and at 2 years, it's a diamond crown. And those are the tiers, just so you know. Alien Boy 13 just did a $5 super chat, and he says, have you seen the Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania trailer? Do you plan on playing it? The Super Monkey Ball Duology are the best games on GameCube. I never played a Monkey Ball game ever. All right? And what I'm to understand, this collection is going to be a modern remastering of Super Monkey Ball 1 and 2, the original games in the series that people say are the best. I would consider playing it, but the thing is, the timing is pretty bad. I think it's coming out in like October when there's an insane amount of other games coming out. So I'm interested in it, but I don't know about the viability of the release timing. This may have to be something that maybe eventually I play later. Like I save a few games for those months and I play them in December when things slow down. You know what I'm saying? We'll see. Let me put it this way. Considering I've never played the franchise before, but there are lots of people who like it, I'm very interested. Okay? Oh, 672 says it's literally under perks. You can see the crown levels right here on YouTube. I didn't know that. You can do that? I did not know that. So there's actually a perks thing you can click on that'll show you the crown levels. Okay, cool. Now everyone knows that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for a fun pre-stream. I got to use the bathroom, so let's take a quick break for me to go use the restroom. All right? Everyone grab a drink or snack, use the restroom yourselves, whatever you need to do. I'll be back in just a couple minutes here, and we're going to start up with Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart for today. Should be a fun stream. We're in the 4th world. Yeah, the 4th world. I just got the rocket boots and started using them, which is allowing me to do some really fast-paced action that I'm really enjoying. And I'm looking forward to more in just a moment, all right? So, thanks, guys. Take a brief break. I'll be back with Ratchet & Clank in just a few moments. Sound good? Well, alrighty then. All right, guys. I'll be back in a few. Thanks.